So I look forward to to help the business move forward, and I just love sharing stories and yeah, exchanging. So just a little bit about Sunstar and gum before we get started. I just want to talk a little bit about the history, because with the history, then we can appreciate the progress that's been made. Sunstar is a Japanese company and started in the 30s, and they got their start in oral care, interestingly enough, by manufacturing repair glue for bicycle tires in Japan. And they took that technology in the 30s and applied it to dentifrice at the time that was in little metal containers, and said, hey, if we can manufacture glue for bicycle tires, then we think that we can apply this to oral care as well. And they created the first tubed toothpaste in Japan. And that was the very modest and humble beginnings of the oral care, their oral care division. And they're a leader worldwide. And in interdentals, they're actually the #1 interdental, the little picks you put between your teeth to reduce the plaque in Europe. So their mission is really to help people everywhere achieve a better health and quality of life through the connection between oral care and systemic health. And the business model in Europe is B2B, so B2B to C, but really primarily through recommendation of professionals. And in the oral care business, that is highly effective and very important for people to get that recommendation. They trust their dentist or their hygienist or a pharmacist when they recommend a product. So they're very heavily reliant on this model. Having said that, their roots were very much in traditional marketing to get that recommendation. So it was really sales teams talking to professionals, and they weren't able to scale. So the main reason that Sunstar really went into transforming their marketing was because of this lack of scale and breadth reaching customers and consumers. So in 2016, I was asked to join them to do an assessment of the digital footprint across Europe, and it was very small. There was really no digital footprint whatsoever. Sunstar grew through distributors, so they now have 7 affiliates, but these were all distributors in the area, and there still is a large distribution of partners across the region to build the brand, but it was very decentralized. So in a way, very fragmented, a strong product and R&D focus, and really trade marketers. There was no digital team, and there was no digital expertise in-house. So pre-transformation, this is kind of what the gum brand looked like. Not kind of, this is actual. It was really fragmented. There were more than 40 kind of microsites across the region representing these 7 affiliates and multiple brand experiences. And when I came in, one of the things that we noticed was, or that I noticed, this was in 2016, we knew already that the mantra was out there: customer experience would be more important than product and price and quality by 2020, meaning customers are going to vote and choose their brands based a lot on the experience that they were receiving. And how is Sunstar going to be able to connect the dots between all of these fragmented images and brand presence that they had out there and the quality of their product? So they had something that I called the invisible cloak. This is a URL of what the website looked like before. We know, as if anyone is working in content marketing and technology today, we know that a URL like this does nothing for Google. This was really the state, to sum up the state of the technology that they were using. It was PHP based, no alias for URLs. They were literally invisible to Google and to consumers or professionals who were out there searching, trying to find them. So we knew at the time, oh, my slides aren't moving. Okay, there we go. That a new approach was needed. And that approach was really a mandate for change. There was a lot of work that needed to be done. And through this assessment, we said, wow, I mean, not only do we need to consolidate the brand presence, but we need to shift from product-driven marketing to consumer-focused marketing. And most importantly, we're going to have to build an entire organization rebuilt from the ground up, where this organization within marketing meant product marketing and new product research and development for Sunstar at the time. They hadn't even thought about digital communication or how people are reached today and how that could help elevate their brands. So we had a decision to make at that time. It was, do we, sorry, I had a message that I was off, but I'm delayed. I guess it's on again. The kind of the marketing technology part that came in at the time was, do we catch up or do we try to leapfrog? Do we do something so bold and so crazy that we might struggle and feel pain for the next 18 months? Or do we try to implement something, maybe a new website, and not worry about any of the other solutions that might go along with it, to try to catch up and ease our marketers into what's happening? And we chose to leapfrog. I was asked to lead this initiative and to make some decisions, help management make decisions of what would poise us for success into 2025 at the time. So this was 2016. And based on what we knew about the region, we said, well, it's going to be painful to bring everyone up to speed. So let's go bold. Let's launch an initiative. This isn't a project, but this is really an initiative to wrap our head around changing the culture, implementing tools, bringing everybody up to speed, these very traditional trade marketers up to speed with digital. And to do this, we need to be radical. It's not going to come easy. So we launched a multi-year, it was really a marketing initiative at the time, a marketing transformation that's turned into a business transformation. And at the core of this transformation was the Adobe Experience Manager. So how did we approach this transformation? A little bit like beauty. We really believed that transformation, like customer experience, is like beauty, and it radiates from the inside out. And this meant if we wanted to create experiences and be able to create one face to the region and communicate with customers and consumers across brands, that we really needed to focus internally on a strong set of tools and skill sets. And we also knew that this was going to be radical and fast. And I think the analogy looking back, and the team agrees, of what this transition and this transformation felt like, it was like racing a high-speed boat and building it at the same time. And that was really the pressure that this team felt for the last 2 years, I would say. We built this transformation on 3 pillars. And this is how we separated work and organized our team. One was around the flagship brand rebrand, digital rebrand. The second was building from the bottom up a digital services center to serve the European market and bring them the framework and the guidelines, the toolkits, and the training and enablement they needed. And the third was really the raising of a platform. And we chose Adobe as the partner, with the thought that they'll have one single look and feel, instead of trying to bring up our team with very little experience or no experience with tools, and learning different systems and kind of weaving those together. We thought it would be the right approach to give them one look and feel across all solutions to help them ease through that, plus some other obviously great advantages of Adobe or a platform. And so this is kind of the approach that we took. We were looking for in the future to have this end-to-end integrated platform, where we could, from a European standpoint, create a service center where we could provide the tool, we could roll down to the markets, give them everything they need, make it easy to roll down their content, and they only have to localize. And then we could leverage this platform not only across Europe, but then to other regions at Sunstar, as well as other business units. And what this turned into was a complete rework of the way Sunstar thought about marketing and how we collaborate and connect across the region. So where you see a 2-way arrow here now, before 2018, this was a direct one-way arrow of just providing some launch kits and having the affiliates go out and do their own thing, to now we provide centralized solutions and they do the localization and the execution, but we're very much working in harmony with them at all times to ensure that what we're rolling out is what they need. And this was radically new. This was a region who all affiliates worked on their own and had no reason really to collaborate with headquarters except to get those launch kits. So we've completely turned the model around where we're working together on integrated marketing and communications now. To give an idea of what the team looks like, this is a pretty loaded slide, but the green represents the markets and the blue represents European headquarters. The local marketing teams, along with the headquarter teams, the digital strategy and European marketing and NPD, we have digital marketers sitting in every team. So we don't have just one digital team. We've really integrated and started building out skill sets so all teams have the capabilities that we need. And that was really important for us moving forward, knowing we'll probably never be able to cover all of the skill sets ourselves. We need to start training and enabling within the markets and within various teams at Sunstar, and then come together cross-functionally. And this was really what we call an integrated marketing, communication, and marketing technology joint venture. We were able to bring everybody together and talk about our simple to begin with ecosystem. This is how we saw things working through advertising. We had to bring in advertising, email marketing, how search works for our websites, how we drive traffic to landing pages, and then how we drive to either physical store purchase or online on Amazon. And this was entirely new within the last 2 years to this trade marketing organization. So it was quite a bold move and quite a lot of learning moving forward. If we look at how our marketers, the tools that they had available to them before this transformation to reach customers and consumers across touch points, it was very limited. And we, in the last 24 months, have opened up a whole new range of touch points through this transformation. Not that they're used for every campaign or in every instance, but this is kind of the arsenal that they have to pull from in order to create 360-degree campaigns now. And one of the core elements of getting our teams to transform was really bringing them around a new type of communication where pre-initiative, they were working, the markets would work with their agencies on very product-related campaigns that would drive little spikes to the websites that nobody could find anyway. And we really moved them to always-on content, how to really sync always-on content, SEO, and search engine optimization with their product launches, and how brand campaigns will work across the region to drive this steady flow of traffic. And at the end, I'll show you where the results are coming out, but it was pretty impressive. I mean, we've basically gone from undiscoverable at a Google level to reaching that nice upward tick. So this part of, although it doesn't have to do with the technology itself, was really, really critical in our journey together to sync the technology and the communications to make this all work together. If we look at the roadmap, and these are the slides that we presented, a lot of these slides in here are the slides that were presented over and over to our teams for them to understand where we were going. And for every marketing technology or marketing communications roadmap or campaign, we had an accompanying marketing technology roadmap to show the interaction between technology and communication. So what type of tools were helping them move forward their communication and their marketing. And this really helped our marketers understand that the two work together. We can't be a modern marketer today without understanding the technology, and technology doesn't live on its own. We need our marketers and communication team. So out of all of this, I think one of the biggest biggest challenges and the biggest opportunities was the motivation of people. And in the beginning, Sunstar talked to me a lot about change management. And I learned early on, we just can't manage the change. We need to motivate it. And if we try to manage it, it becomes very clinical. And we were really able to, with a team who had never worked together across the markets and with European headquarters, through a very robust and grassroots educational platform, we were able to get everyone to buy into this dream of why they should be spending 30% or 40% of their time on top of their activities to really embrace this and move forward. And this inspiration came from someone that I met early on at an Adobe conference. His name is Nicolas Mariel, and he's a digital strategist for Swisscom. And I asked him, Nicolas, if there are three things, because he really helped Swisscom transform their operations. He's quite inspirational and speaks a lot, so you can probably find him at events in Europe also. And he gave three pieces of advice. And he said, people love progress, but they hate change. And very true, right? And he said, you need to be curious all the time as a marketeer. If you're not curious, you're not failing. And if you're not failing, you also aren't learning. And he also said the last thing that really, in this great German accent, you must adapt or die. And I was like, ah! And this was back in, the very end of 2017. And these messages kind of freaked me out going in, knowing that I was going to lead this transformation initiative. And I was like, how would I even take adapt or die to the team? I mean, that sounds so radical. But I can say through the last 3 years, these words that he told me, these truths, and he called them the truths of transformation, they stuck true. And in every which way I could, I kept these three truths on walls, in presentations, to let people know that this is going to be tough, that we are going to be curious, we're going to try things, we're going to fail, we're going to get up again, we're going to move forward, and we do have to adapt. There is no other possibility. If we don't move now, what's carried Sunstar for the last 80 years won't carry us for the next 8. And the other thing, and I would say that the counter to that, was that empathy to be able to move forward boldly and have a team, ask a team to follow your lead, needs to come with a lot of empathy also. And empathy really comes from the heart. It's not a logical change. Like, you can't manage the empathy. You have to feel the empathy and you have to move forward with that. And I think in everything that we did, we had to always think, wow, these are people who they're putting blind faith in this process. They've never had the tools to change. And we need to also have some empathy for how impactful this change, in a very negative way sometimes, is on our team's ability to get their work done and in their everyday life. So I think in moving this initiative forward, my job was really to make the case a reason to believe. It was taking the history of what we couldn't do, the fact that we were completely invisible, so everything that they're doing, nothing can be found online, and coupling that with the future of customer experience. And that kind of became a mantra of why we were doing this. The end goal was to reach 2020 and this, the customer experience dream, which now we're in 2020 and I have to find a new one that only worked for 4 years. But it really was inspirational and aspirational for the team to try to envision that they could be somewhere new in 4 years where they would have a compelling experience online. We learned, as much as people said that they were ready, nobody's born ready. We had to do an extensive amount of planning. We spent 1 year on planning and education before we even started talking about implementing any kind of systems. So there was a lot of effort ahead of time to make this transformation move forward. We had to find new ways to work within the organization. These were teams who had never collaborated within Europe, which now we're asking them to collaborate heavily to work with us also at headquarters. They met maybe once a year. Now we were asking them to meet weekly, bi-weekly, daily, monthly. So there was this huge shift in what does it mean to collaborate, and why would this even be beneficial? But this is the amount of dedication over 2.5 years that it took to kind of swing that boat. Communication was really big. I over-communicated on everything and found that even over-communication was just enough. I found throughout this process, a lot of these slides that I have in here are slides. The one about the 2020 customer experience has been used in 87 different presentations internally. There were key slides that I never changed. So for the last 4 years, everybody's seen them because it was familiar, and it built this sense of, we're moving forward, but not too much forward. Things aren't changing radically. And I also learned along the way, I could forget all the fancy consulting slides and jargon. They had no idea what I was talking about. So keeping everything really simple is really important. And I think the big thing here also was the education. We grew a very robust grassroots education program, brought in outside leaders, practitioners to help us, launched Friday Lunch and Learns, where along the way, marketers could start to share what they were learning. We have hands-on labs that I get in and moderate and teach myself. So the education is continuous. It's not a one-time training. We have education built in weekly now, where there are different labs to help keep our marketers and our management up to speed and up to date on why this change is still needed, where the industry's going, where trends are going, hands-on practitioner trainings. And the education is really what laid the foundation for the entire transformation moving forward. And lastly, I think really important was the not only the planning and the preparation, but it was delivering on the promise. For the first 2 milestones, we set dates and we hit those dates. We weren't a day over, and we were on budget. And as soon as we could establish a roadmap of hitting these dates, management was buying into, hey, you know what, this looks like it's going to move forward. We can release more budget. And that was really, really key. It was also key to getting the team members who were maybe a little bit on the fence about how much they wanted to invest in their time you know what, they're actually delivering. This is worth my time to move forward and embrace wholeheartedly this transformation also. So how did we do? Well, within 12 months, we launched 25 websites in 13 languages. And we have one brand experience. If you go to sunstargum.com or professionalsunstargum.com, you'll see across all countries that are represented, it's one look and feel, one brand presence. So the team was extremely excited about this. If we look at digital results, this is through, I have to look and see, December of last year. We did pretty well also. While this looks small, the orange line is the flat line of where Sunstar Gum was not at all visible across the region, and we are growing nicely. I like to pair this with results from SCM Rush because I like to see how we play out against some of the competition. And while we're not, I've taken Colgate out of this because it just flattens us, but while we're not Oral-B, we're the purple line, and we can see also this nice progression. And this is really due to all the work being able, the SEO that we put in, having the right international hreflang for international SEO. I mean, all the technicalities that complement a marketing and the marketing technology side to help increase visibility and search and increase the organic reach is working and paying off. And this was very well received by management this year. We exceeded our goals for last year. actually. And I think one of the most exciting things and one of the most exciting gains that we made was, if we look back to 2017 of this traditional trade marketing organization, the skills and the knowledge and the competencies that we've built over the last 4 years are huge. I mean, we have marketers who 3 years ago, 2 years ago even, had no idea what SEO was. And they now today are working with their agencies on how to launch, media campaigns and like banner ads and click to base. So, I mean, it's really, really exciting. They're also working on integrated 360-degree campaigns now that include digital and point of sale for professionals and consumers. So they've really advanced along the way, but I think this is one of the most exciting, even more so than the traffic. And we always, want to know how we're doing in traffic and sales also, and our conversion is doing well. But I think the internal IP that we've built to be able to position ourselves for growth in the future is really impressive. And lastly, this year, the team at Sunstar won one of the global awards for innovation in marketing and really preparedness for the future. And so that was really exciting for the team. So that's the end of this presentation. I would love to hear from you and how your teams are, what you're going through, and if any of this resonates. I think it's, we've only just begun. This is just the tip of the iceberg. But the region is feeling really, really good about what they've learned and how prepared they are. And we've seen during COVID now that this was incredible. I mean, they can't imagine not having the tools to be able to, not having an email marketing tool to be able to reach out to professionals or pharmacists to keep the contact while their sales teams can't go out. 12 months ago, that wasn't possible. They had no database. They had no email marketing tools. They had no website. So it's pretty incredible, and they really see the advantage now. So I'm going to, I don't know what I'm going to do here. There we are.
Kerry, that's great. You're back. Well, that's nice that we can see you as well as see your slides. So thank you so much. That was absolutely fantastic presentation. Really inspiring, and really, just incredible journey that you've been on in this period. I mean, I'm sure that Shane will have some questions as well, and if anyone else has got some questions, please do get them in there. There's just lots of. I mean, I've got pages of things to ask you, but I've only got so much time. One of the most things that leaps out to me is you tell the story very clean, right? That's mostly because you're a very enthusiastic person. You've got a great presentational style, and your slides are great. But presumably there were some challenges along the way,
Yeah.
And where I mean, for example, and I'm not suggesting you kind of are undiplomatic about. You had to make I loved your point about motivate, don't manage. That's so on point. How many of those people at the beginning that were there in that marketing team at the beginning of the journey are there now?
Yeah. So when we started this journey, I was brought on. I was the only digital marketer. The rest were all traditional. We lost one along the journey. There was only one who said, "I'm not in."
That's amazing. I mean, were you surprised at that low level of attrition?
They're completely surprised. And I think what's interesting is when you work on it, this was all based on collaboration. So Sunstar has this really light headquarters touch. It's very global. So all of the regions, it's regionally managed, really. International, a global country, but very much managed by 4 different regions. And each region has autonomy. And here it was just very much the markets did what they wanted, right? They had all of this autonomy. And to be able to get the markets based on collaboration, we don't own that marketing budget. And Sunstar, as a Japanese company, it's not a heavy top down. So everything is built on consensus and collaboration, but it had to be done fast. And to be able to literally across the region, so the teams themselves, and here at headquarters, we only lost one team member, was quite impressive. Because these teams, each of the markets now has a digital marketer. They either transformed, either a traditional trade marketer said, "I'm game, I want to learn these skills, I understand it's good for me for the future," or they had to hire someone. And I mean, the learning curve was just, it was over the top. It really took special people to say, I'm in for this challenge. And a lot of times they didn't even know what they were in for. The marketing manager in Italy just said last year, Kelly used to tell me to hop on the train, like, and hold on, or fear of, getting smushed if I hop off, right? And she said, I had no idea what we were doing for 18 months, but I get it now. So there was some blind faith in there too, but I think it was just being able to motivate them and give them the skills that they needed. And the education really built the trust. Without the strong education platform, we wouldn't have had the trust, because you only know, you're limited by your own knowledge. They were scared, right?
And that's a wonderful, wonderful story. Often education is seen as something you do is almost a worthy thing people kind of do because they feel they have to. Actually, it's a key part in the transformation journey. I've got a great question from Lee Morgan, but I'm going to go to Shane next. Shane, I expect you've got a comment or a question on Kelly's session. Shane, can you hear me? No, I can't. I can't hear Shane. So I am not going to go to Lee's question in that case. And Lee's question is,
actually, it was very similar to Lee's question.
Okay.
I can hear you. Yeah. You can't hear me.
No, I can hear you. Go ahead. Okay, I can hear you, Shane, but because I think we have a few technical issues, so I'll read out Lee's question, which is interested to know how this has changed the wider business, i.e., our sales, marketing, product development, service beginning to work with digital tools and growing your CX and / data sets.
That's a great question. Yeah, so not yet. What we're doing now, one thing that Sunstar also didn't have was social listening. So I'm implementing a proof of concept for social listening across Sunstar right now to help new product development and R&D understand what is being said out there in the broader universe, Twitterverse, interwebs, and that's the first step. So the R&D department is still, they're interested, but they're still not connected. New product development now works integrated with marketing communications. And just this year, last month, they started getting their hands in the digital asset management and taking care of their own product images and folders. So they're starting to also become integrated in. The wider business impact is that once we started this marketing transformation initiative, this was completely decoupled from the back end. So there was a separate transformation initiative to move our CRM and SAP to the cloud, so S/4HANA, and we use C4C. Those were two initiatives that are sandwiching the entire organization right now across Europe. It's kind of good that way. So our marketing runs completely decoupled from our back end right now, and the integration will take place next year. And I think that's when we're really going to be able to have everyone around the table talking about kind of talking the same language in a way. So it's a step-by-step process. I mean, this takes years.
Yeah, and one of the things that's interesting, fascinating about this for me is being able to talk through it in such a beautifully clear and concise and you simplified something incredibly complex, but is the extent to which that it's not just a project with a finite lifespan, it's an ongoing process. And how has the acceleration or the pace of this change been? How is it now compared to what it was?
Every digital transformation initiative needs a COVID. I mean, I have never been busier. So I mean, it sounds crazy. We don't all want to be in a pandemic all the time, but I have to say, the markets were on board, but a little bit at their pace. We are so accelerated now. The team, we have a really small team. We could work from 6 a.m. till 12 p.m. at night. I mean, everyone understands now. They got it before why we needed to have these tools and these assets. Why did we need Adobe Campaign? Why do we need personalization? Why do we need analytics? They're feeling it now. They see why they need it because the sales teams are grounded. And so now for the first time, they're seeing, oh my gosh, we need that widget to pop up and facilitate the path to purchase. We need to get all our products in there. I mean, there are so many areas that have just crystallized for them. It's incredible. So the acceleration and the rate of adoption, the last 6 weeks, we've made the same gains that took us I'd say 8 months last year out of pure necessity. It's really fascinating.
And you clearly got leadership on board with it and champions and all those kind of things.
Yeah, I mean, so this initiative was in 2016. The managing director for Europe said we must embrace digital, and the mandate went to the marketing director to sort this out, basically. So it was from the highest level in Europe. It was enforced, and it was really the management. I have to say they were stellar. They took a step back and said, we know nothing about what we need to do for the future. That's why we have you here. We need you to design this initiative and move it forward.
Okay.
And then the CEO saw the value. It was almost a pilot within Europe and said, we're taking this now to a global level, and we want to roll this out to other regions.
Okay. All fascinating stuff. Shane, you've joined us again. Is there anything else you want to add or ask Kelly whilst we still have her?
I just think that for me, it's that sort of culture about taking people with you that was the big learning.
Yeah, I think it's I love technology. I love marketing technology. I love all technology, and it's really easy to become a geek and geek out on the technology, right? But it's the people at the end of the day, and I think it goes back to that transformation and customer experience. It is like beauty. It radiates from the inside out, and we are not going to do anything amazing for our customers and our consumers if we don't first do something amazing for our team and our employees. And that's why the choice of platform was really important. We all have phones. I have Macs. I have great equipment for myself. When I go to work, shouldn't our team also have amazing tools to work with? They get the job done, and we can prove the ROI. All of that comes to it, right? It has to make sense financially, but our teams need to be inspired. They are not going to be inspired by Lotus Notes. It's not going to happen.
No. Well, that's why technology is critical. Kelly, I could sit and talk to you for quite a long time about this. So thank you so much for everything you've done today. It's been great. Hope you can join us.
Thank you for allowing me to share. And please, if anyone has questions, I love sharing. I'm happy to talk to anyone. If you have an initiative that you're starting or need to brainstorm, just hit me up on LinkedIn or Twitter and let's connect, or in chat roulette.
Well, there you go. You couldn't ask more than that. Kelly, thank you so much.
Thank you.